All right, we are live. Were you doing a test?
I was making sure my mic worked after yesterday.
A check after yesterday's debacle?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we if you were on yesterday's live online, you're probably not here today. Welcome in everybody to the Daily Huddle, 15 minutes where we review real quickly the headlines that, in the business world that have stuck out to us, and then give you a thought based off of the conversations we're having with clients and organizations around the world battling through this disruption. I just got off of an hour-long meeting with a food manufacturing company, 40 of their leaders spread out across Mexico and the United States. Got another one with 400 people this afternoon. And so we're trying to bring in this Daily Huddle, different ideas and tips and thoughts based off of what we're hearing leaders struggle with, trying to accomplish in the middle of this disruption. So, Jared,
yesterday we had 40 leaders from a major healthcare system on the good news is we're seeing these meetings pick up a little bit, which is actually telling us that businesses are feeling like they're stabilizing a little bit more. But a lot of these meetings are, how do we actually go forward right now, and how do we actually make things work? So it's really interesting to see these leaders get on and share where their heads are at right now.
Yeah, part of this discussion fresh on my mind because I literally clicked in that meeting and then clicked come into here.
Right.
And so the discussion in that meeting, Jared, with these leaders spread out at different food manufacturing plants, these are products that you would know the names of because they're in your grocery stores, or at least they're trying to get them to your grocery stores as fast as people are. It's so interesting, Jared. I mean, think about one of the ways that this company I was just on with, and we've worked with them for years. So the CEO is leading the meeting, and his top 40 leaders are on, and they're literally looking at, like, they sell some products that are meant for group consumption. So if you were having a party at your house, or you were having some family over, you would probably buy the party size or the family size serving.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no one's buying them. Because nobody's getting together.
There's no big
so they've got all these products coming off of the plant line, right? The conveyor belts. And so they're thinking, these are the real world discussions they're having, do we need to change the size? Do we need to go to more of a 2 or 3 person size product? And then what does that require? And how do we get the label made for that? And how do we, just crazy.
Yeah. The details, there's so many details is what I'm, just thinking through this call with this healthcare. These are outpatient clinics. So these are the doctor's offices. And they're talking through, like, how do we actually get people to feel like it's safe to come into the doctor's office when this opens back up? So it's the mental side of this too, the anxiety and the fear that people feel. How do you manage that? And in fact, I know we love going to the news. One of the news articles I read was about Wuhan and how they're looking today and how they're feeling today. And the fact is, they're opened up to a lot of things that they weren't opened up to before, but people are still very reticent to move and interact like they did. In fact, a little small restaurant owner said, I opened up, but I got 3 people that came in, so I had to shut down. It's costing me more to be open than it is to be closed. So I'm going to lose my business because no one's coming.
And each state is coming out of it a little bit differently, right? Like here in Arizona, where I'm at, the governor announced yesterday restaurants aren't reopening for a while. He prolonged the restrictions, which was like devastating to my teenagers. Like, oh my gosh, no. And then there are other states where they're already rolling out of it. Not the problem, not the COVID-19 problem, but they're lifting restrictions a little faster. Yeah. What's Washington State where you're at? Are you guys still?
They're extending everything. Yeah, they're not shutting anything. They're not opening anything up.
Yeah, got it.
Super frustrating, actually.
Yeah. Some people, there are different views on that, right? Okay, so let's go to the news headline. What stood out to us over the last few hours? Jared, you sent over a couple of images.
Yeah, just look at these images, man. And did you have the other one with the 2 airplanes in the parking lot as well?
Yeah, let me go from
That's the one that actually struck me the most. Like, they're literally parking airplanes in the employee parking lot at the airport because they don't know where to put these things. And that image you just showed of all the Southwest planes parked, it's a little eerie, right? To think, oh man, that's the one where you've got the 2 planes in the employee parking lot. But where do you put all these planes? I mean, think about how many thousands of flights were constantly going at any moment, and where do you put all those airplanes right now? So the state of the airline industry is a little concerning. Like that's a major issue.
Well, I was looking at this one too, Jared, this image. How did they actually fit all the maneuvering of those, right? Just pulling them into how they were able to cram all those planes in such a small space.
Right.
Crazy. So yeah, the travel, remember that graph we looked at? We showed everybody last week of the industries that have been most affected, where the most money has been pulled out of by consumers, pulled out of these industries, and travel, airlines were all on the far end of that spectrum. It's crazy. Okay, so for me, the headline was, and it's an easy one to go to, but we're almost to the point to where it's not as shocking. But the jobless claim numbers, again, they come out every Thursday, and every week you just go, my gosh. So what was it, 3.8 million in the last week?
It's crazy. How does it get? I mean, it's painful to watch. Like when you look at that and you go, we're approaching numbers that we haven't seen since the Great Depression.
Not in our lifetime. It's so funny because I recorded. It's interesting to think about. It's not funny at all, actually. I remember recording a video for LinkedIn just maybe 3 months ago, and it was about how do you find talent? How do you recruit talent?
I remember that.
Right? In the middle of this 3% unemployment. That's one of the big themes we heard from our clients last year. Every company we'd go to, every meeting we're in, one of the priorities that these senior executives of mainly Fortune 500 companies are bringing up is, man, we're struggling to fill these roles. Yep. And now, in an instant,
they're hiring like crazy right now. Like Lockheed Martin is one trying to get engineering talent. They're hiring right now. They're not. You look online and you see what they're doing. So
crazy. There are still some, but there are more companies that are unfortunately having to furlough or let folks go. Okay, so the topic for today that we hit was focusing on what else we can do. Jared, why is this one that we thought we should talk about?
Well, when you think about moments like this, we teach a model called the steps to accountability all the time. It's a very simple model. There's a line in the middle. Above the line are the steps to accountability. See it, own it, solve it, do it. And below the line, it's just the blame game, the excuses. And that construct is actually, let me hit my guy. That construct is actually really interesting when you think about how those two interplay with each other. That line, above the line or below the line, becomes something that's actually, when you think about how simple that is in your mind, it's easy to put yourself in, well, am I below the line right now or am I above the line? It's a great check. But when you focus on what you can control, that's typically where you're focused above the line. There it is. Thanks, Russ. When you're focused above the line, it's when you're focused on what you can control. You're trying to get the result. You're worried about the things that get in the way of getting the result. You're seeing it, owning it, solving it, doing it. When you're below the line, that's when you typically focus on all the things you can't control. And you end up feeling like you're powerless. You're a victim to your circumstances. You can't do anything because nothing's within your control. So you can really put yourself into a mental place where you get paralyzed because you get stuck below the line.
Yeah. And asking what else, in fact, in this meeting, again, that I just came off of, one of the questions that we asked these 40 leaders, we put them into breakout rooms, with 4 people in each, had them have a quick discussion around which of those areas below the line is the easiest to fall into right now. Is it ignore, deny? It's not my job, confusion, tell me what to do. And what do you think they came back with and said, absolutely was the number one easiest to fall into?
I would say they probably said, tell me what to do, confusion, or wait and see, one of those two.
Yeah, we hear those two all the time right now. Wait and see was the one they picked, right? It's easy right now to sit back because of all the uncertainty and go, well, I just tell me what you need me to do. And so what I love about the question, what else can I do, is, that's accountability at its core. That's being proactive. That's putting yourself out there, not playing the blame game, not getting stuck below the line, but rather thinking, okay, and it's not what more, it's not working longer hours. Jared, you and I are both like, we're we're fried.
It's crazy right now.
6 or 7. I was, we had family dinner. I'm sure everyone's doing stuff like this. Family dinner last night, and then we were going to play a game, and nobody was getting the board game set up fast enough. So I went back to my laptop to get the deck, put the final touches on the deck for the morning meeting. Yeah. So it's like, and my wife's like, hello, we're trying to play a game over here, and you're still crunching away on the laptop. So it's not what more. The question isn't what more can I do? Lots of us, many of us feel like, gosh, we feel like we're doing so much right now.
The plates are full.
What's that?
The plates are full. There's no room on the plate. You can't add more.
For a lot of people, that's certainly the case. Others are on vacation. I mean, there's some people that they've checked out for a while. You see that around you in society. But for a lot of us, it's the question, what else I can do, is focused on what am I not considering that this disruption should cause us as an organization or as a team to be doing that. And we're not being agile enough. So what solutions are we not considering that could help us with revenue right now, or could help us with, meeting the customer need, as that company last hour was talking about? What solutions have I not been thinking about because I'm stuck? I'm so stuck in thinking the old way, status quo, that I need to adapt.
Totally. It's so easy to get stuck in that old guard thinking too. One of the other below the line categories is ignore, deny. Ignore, deny is ignoring the fact that things are not going to be the same. It is going to be different in some way, shape, or form for the foreseeable future right now. There's actually no end in sight to some of these changes. You think about masks and social distancing and some of the elements of large group gatherings. I mean, if this thing has a resurgence in the fall, even a little one, you're going to see more restrictions come back and play again. So you're talking now about January, February before you get to any realistic time frame where things get to some semblance of normalcy.
Stop saying
that. Isn't that right? I mean, you got to take a hard look at this and see the reality of the situation. I think we're going to have a wave of some of this coming back and forth, but yeah, there's a little bit of time in front of us. Now, there is some really hopeful stuff you see around virus or vaccines and care and models of care and all that can deal with this. So some of that gives you a little hope that some of this might relax sooner. But yeah, that's ignore, deny is another dangerous one.
Yeah, no question about it. All right, what's on tap for you today?
Oh man, just a ton of content creation.
Yeah.
I've got my afternoons blocked to create stuff. I've got a whole batch of things backed up and ready to go. So I've got some time blocked off for that today.
So this afternoon I've got it's this morning Pacific time, and in a couple of hours I've got this meeting with. It looks like we're going to have just over 400 people in it, virtual. And we're doing breakout rooms in it, which is going to be crazy. You all, just this meeting I was running last hour with 40 people in Zoom. If you've been the one, like the host of the meeting, and you're doing breakout rooms and the chat's going and you're running a PowerPoint deck and it's like, oh man, it's exhausting. And so I'm trying to get myself mentally, physically. I need to go work out and get some strength built up for this.
Well, that meeting yesterday I was talking about was a 4-hour Zoom meeting, right? And you got to put breaks in there and do it. But
did that work? 4 hours? Did it work?
Totally worked, Russ. It felt like an hour. It went by like that because we were talking about relevant, important, strategic things that needed to be done in that organization. That team hadn't had a chance to come together and talk about what's most important, even for the next 30 to 60 days. So their leadership team was so hungry for that conversation. So and we did the breakout groups and, go get into groups of 4, come back into the main session with 40 people, then back into groups of 4, then back to the main session. And, that capability of Zoom to put you into those virtual breakout rooms is a game changer. So it makes it all the difference. Makes all the difference.
Jared, do you feel like today's show went any better than yesterday's?
Oh man, you could actually hear me. That's important, right?
You guys, yesterday was a train wreck. I mean, when Jared started talking about that communist stuff, in addition to all the mic problems we had. I've never lost it in a live meeting before.
That was so bad. It's still live on my Facebook feed. It's still up. You deleted it off of your Facebook feed.
Oh, baby, I deleted that sucker
go watch
within 60 seconds after we finished. I mean, I'm like, I have to destroy the evidence that ever happened. Oh, that could ruin my career, that meeting.
That was hilarious.
Anyway, and to know that 22,000 people were watching you live was unbelievable. All right, Jared, have a good one. We'll be back same time, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern tomorrow. Have a good one, everybody.